We're hoping for a crazy fall, hoping for the buyers to come back with interest rates coming down, hoping for a real strong end 2024 sets up for a really great 2025. Then something happened on the way to that party. Elections, interest rate turnarounds, buyers starting to freak out, sellers starting to freak out. It's all falling apart as we head towards the finish line of the year. Let's talk about why that has happened. Let's talk about why that has created some opportunity here that some people are not taking advantage of, and what does that mean if you're looking to buy or sell into 2025. Thanks for joining us today. This is Steve, real estate agent with the Malone Home Team, EXP, here in the North Georgia area. All right, gotta start out by asking, please, if you would not mind liking and subscribing to the page and to the channel, because it does help us grow. Got people moving into North Georgia. We got people looking to sell in North Georgia, and we're trying to get this information out so we keep everybody in the know about all the changes that are coming, because it's definitely a big change right now from where we thought we'd be just a couple of months ago. So we're looking at the end of the year thinking to ourselves, the interest rates are going down. There's an election looming, but we were hopeful for what was going to be a decent end of the year. Definitely a lot better than it was last year. That is not what happened. All right. The buyers are definitely much more scarce than they've been. All right. A lot of people freaked out by the election. We're sitting right here. It's October 17th as we're recording this. All right. So this is like mid-October. And we've got a couple weeks left. We've got 2.5 weeks left until the election or so. So what does that mean? It means a lot of people are just kind of frozen in place. And then mortgage rates have kind of taken a little bit of a turn. So what we're going to do in this video, okay, we're going to talk about A, the impact that the election has had and what I think is going to happen going forward. B, the impact that the interest rates have had, because the mortgage rates have come down a little bit, but then they had a little bit of a rebound. We're going to talk about that and what comes next. And number 3, we're going to talk to buyers and sellers. Look, there's opportunity here. We're talking about what your best opportunity is. Okay, we're going to wrap it up real quick. Not going to get bogged down in the details, but let's talk about it, because this is a unique time in real estate. This is not a happy time in real estate right now because it's kind of quiet. However, things are going to change. Let's see how it all plays out. But first, how did we get here? Let's talk about the election first. We talked about we're about 3 weeks out from the election. Obviously, you have Senate, you have House. Big one's the president, obviously. You have former President Trump, you have Vice President Harris, and you have the showdown that's going to happen in 3 weeks. I've been in sales for a while. All right. I've been in real estate for 7 years now, just over 7 years. Was in sales before that for 3 years. So I've seen 16 and 20, and now again in 24. Presidential election and any kind of sales, everybody kind of sits on the fence and kind of waits to see what happens during the election. It happens every single time. The ironic thing is, I saw somebody talk about this, one of the talking heads talking about this week, about how even though obviously there's a big difference between, the candidates, the reality is the economic plans of the candidates aren't too terribly different. I think that, whether one wins or the other one wins from an economic standpoint, I don't think the economics changes. And what we've always found too is whether you want to buy or whether you want to sell, or if you're any kind of business and you have to buy something or sell something or whatever, with the election coming up, no matter who wins, you still got to buy that thing you needed to buy or sell that thing you needed to sell. It doesn't change anything. But it's just human nature. Everybody's kind of freaked out because it's a big change. Obviously, the country's been going in one direction. Now, every 4 years we have the potential for going in another direction and in another direction. So, everybody kind of freaked out about that. So what's going to happen? I think that once we get through the election, we're all going to look at our calendars and be like, on a normal scale, calendar, watch, whatever. Normally we see December being a very quiet month, but usually September's a little busy, October's a little bit busier, November is actually surprisingly busy in real estate. Could we somehow get a little bit of a rush here? Like once the election's over, everybody knows what's happening. Maybe get a little bit of rush between Thanksgiving before the end of the election and like Thanksgiving timeframe. We could. I'll be honest, I'm not holding my breath. I think it's going to be a little quiet. The other thing, okay, so that's the election. So that, like I said, no matter who wins, I still think that people are going to do what they wanted to do. They just are freaked out about what's going to happen. And I get that. But that's the election. That's number one. It has frozen people in place right now. I thought it was going to happen maybe as we got in October. It really happened like beginning part of September. Beginning part of September, everything kind of shut off. Because everybody's kind of in hunker down mode. Let's see what happens. So we're in hunker down mode. Let's see what happens. Election's a couple weeks away. Once the election's over, I think it's going to still be until we get past the end of December before people are like, all right, let's put our foot forward and make something happen. So that's the one thing that's really changed the market. The other one is the mortgage rates. They were going great until. So the mortgage rates were dropping, steadily dropping, nice and slow, nice and steady, which we've talked about. As the economy has shown signs of quieting down and slowing down, as the labor market has shown signs of a little bit more stability. The unemployment rate has gone up. Obviously, you don't want there to be people unemployed, but as the unemployment rate goes up, it's a sign of the economy kind of stabilizing. That's what we've been watching. Everything's been going fine. We had the one report at the beginning part of October, though, that showed that the mortgage rate, or the unemployment rate actually went back down. They added about 100,000 jobs more than they thought. And the mortgage rates jumped up about a quarter point out of that report, and they haven't given it back yet. The rates are in the mid to upper sixes right now. They were kind of in the low sixes, pretty close to 6. Some people can still get in the mid sixes, maybe even the low sixes, depending on how much you're putting down, what your credit score is, things like that. But on the average, I think I would call the mortgage rates right now mid to upper sixes. That's where we are right now. And they should be in the low to mid threes. It should be a good half point lower than where we are right now. And I just don't know when that's going to change. It's an interesting thing, and it's something I've mentioned. There were a couple months ago where the Labor Department actually revised some of their previous reports to show they actually had to take 900,000 jobs off the table, that they weren't there. They had to reevaluate or reassess or whatever, and 900,000 jobs off the board. And the mortgage rates didn't do anything, which is really weird. 900,000 jobs go off the board, mortgage rates don't do anything, markets don't do anything, but 100,000 extra added, and everybody loses their mind. All right, the Heath Ledger Joker moment there. But whatever, I'm not in charge of that. I'm in charge of reading the tea leaves, all right? That's the game that we're playing right now. You combine the fact that the election's freaking everybody out, and now mortgage rates are about a half point higher than they probably should be right now. I think everybody's like, all right, we're done for now. And they're probably gonna be done for a little bit. I think that they're gonna be done. Like I said, we might get a little mini bump in November, but I'm not counting on it. I really think that the market on the whole is not going to get cranked up again until we get to the beginning part of the year. I think that once we're through the election season and a lot of the forces that drive the mortgage rates may start to calm down a little bit, and that may allow those mortgage rates to get back down close to 6, which is kind of where we think that they're going to be at the very end of the year. Upper 5s to right near 6. That's kind of where we thought at the beginning of the year, kind of where we think it's going to be right now. Let's see how it all plays out. But we still got a couple months until the end of the year. But I think the fact that those mortgage rates kind of went up a little bit, a lot of buyers that were thinking about maybe doing something, they really are sitting down. So there you go. Those are the two forces that have really slowed down this market to a crawl. Okay, a crawl. I mean, the last couple of years have been a crawl. This is right on par with what we've done the last couple of falls. Pretty slow, pretty damn slow, considering the fact that the beginning part of the year wasn't gangbusters either. I mean, this is going to end up being nationally another very slow year in real estate. But we look forward to 2025 and what's going to happen next. So that's the setup. Now let's talk about if you're thinking about making a move. If you're looking to buy, I'm going to give you the piece of advice that I get more pushback on than anything, but I'm going to say it. Here we go. It's a great time to buy a house. Today. Right now. Everybody gets pissed off when I say that. And it's okay. I'm fine with that. But it is the best time to buy a house. When we look back at where we're going to be in 6 months, what it looks like right now is we're going to be way past the election. If you look historically, the year after a presidential election is usually a very busy year in real estate. Very busy. Okay. 2021 was one of those years. 2017 was one of those years. So that just typically is. Everybody's freaked out the year of the election. Election's over. Let's rock and roll. Party time. Okay. And again, the Republicans won in 2016, 2017 was a good year in real estate. The Democrats won in 2020, 2021 was a good year in real estate. Okay, I don't care who wins in 3 years when it comes to figuring out what's going to look like next year. Next year is going to be a busy year in real estate. Okay, so that being said, expect a busy year. Number one. Number two, interest rates are going to be going down. Mortgage rates. That's the plan. I mean, there's no market forces as the economy continues to slow. They're going to go down. Now, keep in mind, I don't think that they're going to go down much further than the mid to upper fives. I think that's the floor. If they do, great, grab it. But if you're waiting for something to be like 3.5% before buying something, I promise you're not buying anything anytime soon. Not for years. Not for years and years, okay? Outside of like some big giant calamity. The reason we had rates 2 to 3% was because of the pandemic. Everybody was out of work. Everybody was sitting around doing nothing, right? They had to do something to kind of get things rolling. So the mortgage rates went to 2% to 3% range. We're not going to see that again for a very long time, okay? So because of that, that's when all the buyers are going to come back. Spring of next year. So spring next year, when you're standing out in a driveway waiting for the last people, people before us to go in the house, they got to come out of the house before we go in the house. There's already somebody behind us standing in the driveway looking, somebody looking around the house. And there's going to be all kinds of offers on this house. It's going to be like 15, 20 offers on this house. And the offer or the house, if it's listed at 500, it's going to take 515, 520 to beat it. Maybe we have to give up the appraisal gap. Maybe we have to do all kinds of, we have to give up stuff in the deal. I promise there's going to be a moment there where you think to yourself, man, if we had just bought this 3 months ago when nobody was looking, when sellers were giving away concessions, the rates were a little high, but we could just refi. The prices are lower now than they're going to be in 6 months. When we get into spring, prices are going to be higher, okay, by like 2 to 3%. And then on top of that, what are you going to get when all the buyers start bidding and you have to outbid the buyers to win the house? For all these reasons. You ask me what's the best time to buy a house. All right. First of all, if you're not ready to buy a house, you're not ready to buy a house. So that's number one. All right. The best time to buy a house is when you're ready. Okay. But tactically, let's say I've got my money in order. I've got, all my ducks in a row. I'm ready to rock and roll. I'm just ready to hit the button. I got to pick the right time to hit the button. This is the right time to hit the button because you've got fewer buyers to compete against. You're going to get the home for less money now than you will in the spring. You're going to be able to get concessions. You're going to find more houses right now. There's more houses on the market right now than we've seen in over 10 years in North Georgia, okay? This is it. This is your opportunity. When people say, oh, this is a terrible time to buy, I think that part of the reason people think it's a terrible time to buy is because maybe the home prices go down. There's no forces that are going to bring the home prices down. Atlanta will never go out of style. We do not have enough. We have more houses on the market than we've had in 10 years, but we don't have enough houses on the market to where we're going to have a wholesale crash in the market, especially when next year the rates go down. There are a boatload of buyers ready to jump back in. Okay. This is opportunity. Okay. If it's not time for you, it's not time for you. But you ask me, if you've got your ducks in a row and you're just waiting for the right time to hit the button, good gravy, hit the button. Let's rock and roll. Let's buy a house right now between now and the end of the year, okay? Let's go get a deal because the deals will not be there once we get into February and March. So what if you're selling? All right, I'll give a little shout out to my wife. She said I need to smile more in my video, so I'm gonna smile more. There you go. If you're selling your house and you're looking to get the best deal possible, and it doesn't matter what you're buying. Like if you're looking to sell, to buy, then it becomes a question of what makes the more sense, getting a better deal on the buy and kind of getting beaten up on the sale, or getting a better deal on the sale and getting my butt kicked on the buy. What makes the most sense? We can have that conversation. Give me a call, set up a time, we'll talk. But if you're just selling your house because I want to rent for a little bit, I want to move, I want to get this house out from under me because it's a rental property, whatever, I'm not selling my house until beginning part of January. Coming right out of New Year's, it's going to be rock and roll. I've already told my wife, who told me to smile. I already told my wife, hey, January 1st, we're going to have New Year's. We're going to do, black eyed peas and collard greens. We're going to do some Southern stuff on New Year's. January 2nd, that's it. I love you to pieces, but I will see you at the end of June. Because it's going to be 6 months of rock and roll real estate. Start January 2nd, okay? If I'm looking to sell, let's talk. get your house ready, get everything cleaned up right after Christmas. January 2nd, we're ready to rock and roll. Let's get that house sold, because in North Georgia now, because the school season, when the school year starts, like that first day of August, the summer season, buying season ends end of June, beginning of July, which means that the spring season starts even earlier, and then there's early spring buy. So the spring season, it starts January. People rock and roll in January, okay? So that being said, if you're looking to sell and really get the best deal possible, that's what I'm waiting. I'm waiting for all the buyers to come back, because you can have a better hand in negotiating at that time. Now, if you have to sell, call us. We'll come up with a game plan, and we'll get you the most amount of money possible for that house, okay? But we will talk about what's going on in the market. I mean, this is not that market where you're going to get $25,000 over asking price. You know, it's just hard. It is what it is. But if you really want to make bank, make things happen, I think early next year, like I talked about, that's the time where the buyers are going to have the harder time getting a deal. You know why it's going to be the harder time for the buyers to get the deal? Because the sellers are getting the deal. So that's when you jump in if you're looking to sell. So if I'm thinking buying or selling, those are my timelines that I'm thinking. All right, so there's a quick breakdown of why has this market stalled? The election, mortgage rates. That's it. Mortgage rates have driven the conversation. I'm still kind of shocked that they went up as much as they have. I'm shocked that they have not given up that little bit that they got at the beginning of October. And any hope that we had of something happening this fall, I think has gone away. And the election, as always, slows people down. But I think that once we get through the election, I think opportunity begins to present itself for sellers and is less prevalent for buyers, okay? For buyers, again, I can't say it enough. This is your opportunity to go get a deal, okay? Whether you're looking to buy or to sell, the beginning part of that is, let's talk about strategy, okay? Because let's say you're looking to sell in 3 months. Great. We need to sit down and talk about, where's your house right now? We've been doing that this last month. Where's your house right now? What are some of the things we can get done, like this week, and next week, like little pieces that you can get done in the house, so that way once the time hits to go on the market, the house is looking great, okay? Let's have the conversation now. If you're looking to buy, this is the time for us to talk. We have our buyer strategy session where we talk about, this is how you go through the process. This is what we're looking for in a deal. This is how we get a deal. This is how we can get you concessions. This is how we can do a buy down on the rate. Things like that, okay? Because that's the other thing. I mean, even with the mortgage rates being high, we can still do buy downs on the rate, okay? We still have options to get people into a house and take care of them, okay? So, if you have questions, if you want to talk, again, emails below. You can set up a time to talk below. I got a Calendly link set up below for that as well. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to tell all your friends, and I appreciate you. But slow fall. Hang in there. It's good news for some, bad news for others, but everybody's going to be back in the pool right after January, okay? Steve, Malone Home Team, EXP, North Georgia. Take care. Bye.